Good morning. I'm not sure where this is. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Good morning. It's very nice to see you all, and it's nice to be invited here. I'm Becca Lucas. I am a native in a couple senses. I was born and raised here, so I see familiar faces who have probably known me throughout different times of my life, as well as titʻu, Yaktilhini, Northern Chumash tribe of San Luis Obispo County and region. And I'm here today to ask us to think through some of the stories that we hear and tell, particularly in these days leading up to Thanksgiving. So, great. The first thing I wanted to do was have us practice this name because it can be kind of intimidating, but I promise it's not that hard. Just need to get used to these little high Y's here. So, yak, perfect, means the. Titʻu, kind of like I'm gonna teach you, or like a cute sneeze, right? One means person, together it means people. In tillhini, kind of like you can't make the hummus until tahini. Tillhini is our people, is this place, and together it means the people of the full moon. So we are in tillhini, we are tillhini, and we speak tillhini. We are the homeland people here with a documented presence back over 10,000 years, and our homeland spread north to Ragged Point, east past the Carrizo Plains, south to the Santa Maria River, and west far beyond what we see as our coastline today. We celebrate changing of the seasons with the solstices and the equinox, and we have longstanding relationships with the oaks and the acorns and chia for nourishment, tending, and much, much more. We refer to ourselves as YTT, Northern Chumash, partially because it's a really long name to say all the time, but also because we are the most northern of the Chumash tribes in this area. So if you've heard of other Chumash, like our friends and neighbors to the south, there are actually 8 tribes that were called Chumash when the Spanish came, because there was an assumed and perceived commonality between languages and culture, though what we really share is our region. Beyond that, we are entirely separate traditions, cultures, and languages, but today we still share a common name, not language. So today, Indigenous people across this country, across the globe, are asked rather frequently to speak about, or to teach, and to help us all learn about traditional ways of providing for our societies as we look towards a collective past to help fix some of the challenges that we face today. And I find this really fascinating on a number of different levels and for a number of different reasons, but in the interest of time, I'll only sort of noodle on 2 here today. So I think that this really highlights, without sort of deliberately addressing, a shared cognitive dissonance that we have in our society, where we perpetuate this myth that pre-contact, this land was sparsely populated with hunters and gatherers, tribes that moved about and existed by living very hands-off approach, not manipulating or managing the environment. We see this myth in museums, in plaques at national parks, in the classroom and beyond. And yet we also tell the myth of the first Thanksgiving as a harvest celebration of when Native Americans taught the Pilgrims how to farm. So one of our oldest origin stories isn't yet really paralleled with the way that we often think of or refer to the original peoples of this land. And we know, it's very well known today, that tribes that populated this land and do today were not just hunters and gatherers, but very intentional land managers. And these practices, these different ways of interacting with our environment, are things that Native people are asked about today, maybe without knowing that these are things we know and we do all the time. So what are some of these ways? The intentional diversion of water to an area that might not receive it naturally, otherwise known as irrigation. the removal of unwanted plants or dead parts of plants to ensure that what you want to grow actually thrives, otherwise known as weeding or pruning, intentional burns, transplanting, seed sowing, and beyond, all of these practices that we know and use every day. Indigenous people were and are agriculturalists and scientists and experts in the field, and acknowledging that and recognizing that and our numerous contributions to everyday life would go a really long way. Thank you so much.